Let me explain what an IPO is and why you should really avoid them at the start or the beginning. IPOs are basically initial public offerings. That's what an IPO stands for. And an IPO is the first time that stock is released to the public for it to be available to purchase. Now, just a more recent one, just lately, or very popular as well, we had a Facebook IPO, and the ticker symbol for that is FB, okay? So many people got into Facebook right away because, oh, Facebook is popular, it should grow. But you have to remember that the stock market is all based on growth and future expected growth. Okay, people want it to do kind of like this. Now, the problem is with IPOs is typically people that already owned the company earlier on the secondary market before it was released to the public, such as preferred shares or company shares that they worked at the company and they own shares. What happens is the minute that IPO comes out, let's say it comes out on this day, okay? The minute that IPO comes out, those people dump those shares, okay? Now, every now and then they'll have to buy it, or they buy it, or they have to hold it for 60 or 90 days. With Facebook, it basically tumbled. I mean, it tumbled down to, I don't know, 28 or something like that right now. So what you want to do with IPOs, most of them, there's very few, but most of them, you want to wait and avoid the noise. Let the chart set up. Let the chart, give the charts time. What's your hurry? What are you going to miss if it goes up an extra $2, $3? Don't look into jumping into things too quick. So here's another thing that's happening before we even get there. So Facebook, let's say, is right now, right here. Coming up in late November, more people are allowed to dump more shares, meaning more people are allowed to sell more shares, like bankers and investors. They have to hold their shares for, I think, 90 or 6 months, 90 days or 6 months into the company's public offering. So now in November, what's going to happen is they're going to dump it even more. So that could decline even further. So, I mean, look at like Zynga, for example, or Groupon. I mean, those stocks had IPOs, and those are huge companies. I use them all the time in order to purchase things. But the fact is just because I use them doesn't mean they make great stock trades. It doesn't mean that the valuation is there behind the people. It doesn't mean that the supply and demand is there. So understand why you're buying the stock you're buying, and let the chart set up, because the IPO, the initial public offering, gives all those secondary investors that got in earlier before it's released to the public to dump everything. They're just dumping it as soon as possible, okay? And the minute more time goes on, then they can dump more. It just depends on the rules. And you have to read the fine print and read into the company of what those rules are or were. And a lot of people, they don't read into that, but read and understand what's happening in the company you're interested in and when they can be dumping those shares. And that's why IPOs, they really need time to set up. So let the chart set up, and then you can get in. So the minute it starts kind of bouncing up, or you see the trend line kind of going back up, then that's the time to get in, but not at the initial. So understand that IPOs, they're just basically means initial public offering. It allows you to purchase the shares, but be very careful, especially if you're swing trading on a multiple day range with those shares, because they can continue to deteriorate and you just want to watch out. Typically, you can't short a lot of the IPOs. You can only purchase them or invest into them for the longer term horizon. And a lot of people, they always want to short IPOs because they know it's going to go down, but it's kind of a rule these days that most of the time you can't short IPOs. So just avoid it and avoid the noise. And if you see it going up, you can always buy it. But don't be in such a hurry with ants in your pants to go ahead and purchase the IPO just because you know the company's website address. Okay, so watch out for that, and that's what an IPO is.